Hey YouTubers, what is up? Old School Gearhead here. Today I am working on a first gen Porsche Cayenne and I am replacing the wheel bearing and hub assembly, but actually I'm not. What I'm going to do is just replace the whole steering knuckle with the hub and bearings, because what I do is I try to keep one in stock that has new bearings in it already, and then what I will do is take this one that I've pulled out of this car and I'll put new bearings in it for the next job if it's still in good condition and stuff, and if the hub doesn't have too much run out on it, which they usually don't. Now how you can tell when these go bad is it's not like a typical Chevy or something like that where the hub bolts in. This hub is pressed in, and so are the bearings. But what happens with these is they get real noisy. I don't know if you guys will be able to hear that on the camera, but they get real noisy, and when you're driving down the road it's going to sound like a tank going down the road, just noisy. And now this is on the driver's side, so when this person was making right hand turns it gets very noisy, so that clued me in right away what was going on. So anyways, I'm going to do this steering knuckle with the hub and bearings, and this is what it should look like when you tear it all down. To be able to do that, you should have your brakes. Just disconnect all your lines from the steering knuckle assembly and pull them off of all their little locking tabs and stuff, and then just hang everything up with a bungee cord from the control arm. Don't disconnect the metal line or anything like that. You're just making more work for yourself. I'm also, while I have this one apart, I already did the upper control arm. What usually happens on these is the bushings don't typically go bad, but what does go bad is the upper ball joint. It'll get real sloppy, so if you start ripping into it, you get it torn down and you notice the ball joints just flopping around and stuff, you're going to want to go ahead and replace that while you got it apart. And then also check the lower one too. Make sure that's nice and tight, which this one is okay. I'm not going to touch it today. I'm just going to leave it. So it's a pretty easy task, like I said. Oh, and actually also, while I have it apart, I'm going to do the CV axle too. That was in pretty bad shape too. And to get that CV axle in, I'm going to have my helper come out, and he's just going to step on the lower control arm right here, and it's going to open up a gap right here. That's the easiest way to do it. Open up a gap between the strut and the lower control arm, and then shove the axle and make sure it's clocked in the right direction, and then shove it on in there, and then just start putting everything back together. There's really no tips or anything that I can give you. I could give you a tool list. I could put it in the description or something of things you're going to need. And the only thing I can really tell you is just make sure you take the axle nut off first. A lot of guys forget that. Remove the center cap from the wheel and then take the axle nut off. It's a 32 millimeter 12 point. And another tip is get yourself an impact to get that off. It's not going to come off of the breaker bar. If it does, I'll be shocked. I've never seen one come off of the breaker bar. So get a nice impact wrench and bust that thing right off of there, and then start disassembling it. So that's my video for today, guys. If you have any questions about anything, just let me know in the comments. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.